Welcome back, Algebra 2 students. This is Chapter 1, Section 3. It's entitled Solve Linear Equations. So an equation can be defined as they are basically two expressions that are equivalent. Two equations that are equal or equivalent. A linear equation in one variable is an equation that can be written in the form ax plus b equals 0. So linear equation, basically ax plus b equals 0. You guys probably remember this mx plus b, y equals mx plus b. That just is a linear, that's slope-intercept form for a linear equation. It's going to come into play later. A solution of an equation in one variable is substituting the number for the variable results in a true statement. So basically, solution, you can say when substituted, the statement is true, or the equation is true. Equivalent equations, if they are two equations with the same solution. All right, that's it. All right, so some properties that we need to be talking about here. Again, really the names of the properties are not all super important, but definitely knowing how they work are. So the first one here, this is the addition property of an equality. It's saying A equals B, meaning these two numbers are the same. If you add C to both sides, then they are equivalent equations. That means if you have X equals X, and you add the same number to both sides, you would end up with X plus 2 equals X plus 2. They are equivalent equations. The subtraction property of equality says if you subtract the same number from each side, you have an equivalent equation. So basically, as long you can do whatever you want. What I'm going to show you here in a second right now, you can have X plus 2 equals 5. This is technically, or plus 5 plus X, okay? This is an equivalent, let me put a 2 here. This is an equivalence equation. You're saying this expression equals this expression. So as I can say, I could do any operation I want as long as I do it to both sides. I could add 4 to both sides. So now we have 2x plus 2 plus 4 equals 5 plus x plus 4. They are still equivalent equations. As long as I add, that's the addition property, I can subtract a y from both sides. I don't know why you would, but you'd end up with 2x plus 2 plus 4 minus y equals 5 plus x plus 4 minus y. They are still equivalent equations because I did it to both sides. All right, the multiplication property. A equals B and C does not equal 0. That means A times C equals B times C. Again, as long as you are multiplying both by the same side. Over here, I could multiply both sides by 3. And it's still an equivalent equation. Division property. If you divide each side by same non-zero number, that means if you do the division of C, over here, I could divide all of this by Z, And as long as I do it to both sides equally, it's an equivalent expression. So let's solve an equation with variables on one side. So here's an equation on one side. What we want to do when we are solving when you solve an equation, what you really are looking at and what you're really trying to do is you are trying to isolate the variable. All right, isolate the variable. Well, what does that mean? That means when if someone was acting up in class, I might isolate them. I would remove in class, I would remove all distractions. Here, I would remove all operations. Now, you know order of operations says do your exponents, all that stuff first. When you solve or isolate, you have to undo, I'm going to say GEMDOS. I think I've talked about this. Undo GEMDOS. So you have to get rid of any adding and subtracting first, then multiplying and dividing, then your exponents, and then your grouping symbols. You got to get rid of those things first. So, example number 1 from your note-taking guide, isolating the variable. Removing all operations. So, we subtract 15 from both sides. Minus 15, minus 15, 3/4 x. Let's see, 33 minus 15. 18. Now, multiply each side by blank, the reciprocal of 3/4. All right? 3/4. You're multiplying by 3 and dividing by 3. We're undoing this multiplication right here. So you multiply 18 by 4/3. And when you calculate this, let's see here, 4/3. 3 reduces with 18 like that. 4 times 6 is 24. So the solution should be 24. Now, you should check. If you really want to know if you did it right, check. Put a 24 in there. Let's see here. Let's reduce. That reduces out. This becomes a 6. Yep. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 15 is 33. 33, 33. We know we did it right. All right. Here we go. Solving another equation. Undoing. You undo GEMDOS. So get rid of adding and subtracting. Add 6 to both sides. Please show this work. This cancels. Really, though, it becomes 0. So 15a equals 15. Adding and subtracting have been undone. Multiply and divide. Get rid of multiplying by 15. A is 1. And check. 15 times 1. 15 minus 6. 9 equals 9. We know we did it right. Undoing operations over here. Undo adding and subtracting. Minus 3 both sides. 5/6 y equals 10. Multiply by the reciprocal. 6/5. The 6's reduce, the 5's reduce. Y equals 60. Oh, wait. Let's do some simplifying first to make it easier. 5 reduces to 1. 10 reduces to 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Go ahead and check on your own. I don't want this video to be too long. Pause it, check it on your own, and see what happens. All right, guided practice. 1 and 4. Remember, you have to do all of these, so let's start. Number 1, 4x plus 9 equals 21. So this should be on a separate piece of paper. Undo the 9. 12. Undo the multiplying and dividing. X equals 3. Check it if you want. All right, check it if you want to make sure you did it right. 4. It's a story problem. A real estate agent's base salary is $22,000 a year. The agent earns 4% on commission. How much must the agent sell to earn $60,000? So, base salary means no matter what, if he doesn't sell a single house, he makes $22,000. Plus 4% plus 4% of some number equals $60,000. All right. So we wrote a story problem here, or read the story problem, took the information. Now we've got to solve it. What do we undo first? That's right. Undo the positive there, that plus. You're getting rid of the operations attached to the x. So 0.04x now equals 38,000. Now divide by 0.04. Oh man. And it's a good thing I did this one for you, because now you're going to have to do some 0.04, put 38,000 in there. Move the decimal 2 places. 38, let's see, that's 9. That's 5. And then the rest are zeros. So you'd have to sell 900. This real estate salesman, just to make $60,000, would have to sell almost $1 million worth of homes in order to make $60,000 a year. That's a lot of houses there. All right, so let's see how we're doing. All right, not too far to go here. Let's continue on. All right, solve an equation using the distributive property. All right. It's a distributive property, but it also involves variables on both sides. We're going to have to do a lot of work here. First, distributive property. 3x. Take the 3 times the 3 times the 2, 3x minus 6. 7 times 4, 7 times 3, 28x. Now it says to combine like terms. All right, so let's combine 28x and minus 31. That would be negative 3x plus 21. Now add 3x to both sides. When you're isolating a variable, when you get rid of the variables need to be on one side. And if you want to add something here, a good trick when you're isolating is you have to variable on one side, and you do this by it's better to move the smaller number. All right, so we move a 3x, then you're adding. If we moved the 9, you'd have to subtract, and it's just a pain in the butt. So if you add 3x to both sides, this becomes 12x minus 6, and that's 21. Now it is a nice equation. once you have that, it looks like all the rest of it. So all we did was we kind of moved some stuff around. We used some of those properties. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And now you have 12x minus 6 equals 21. You should be able to solve this. So pause the video, try it on your own, and I'll keep going though. So add 6 now to both sides. 12x equals 27. All right. Let's see here. Let's make sure. Okay. And so now we have to divide by 12. So your answer should be 27 twelfths. And if we simplify this, they're both divisible by 3. So it could be 9 fourths. 9 fourths is your solution. All right, now, the reason we check is to make sure we have the right answer. For time's sake, go ahead, check on your own, and I guess let me know how I did. All right, checkpoints. Here's a distributive property with variables on both sides. So distribute the 4. Distribute the 3. Get both variables on one side by moving the smaller number. So minus 3x both sides. It gives us 1x minus 24, 6. Now we add 24, and you get x equals 30. And then check to see if it's right. Here's a very complicated distributive property. Distribute the 3. Distribute the negative 2. All right, now look at this. Negative 2 with a negative 7. When you're multiplying, it becomes a positive 14. All right, combine some like terms here. There are some like terms. 17x plus 14. All right, move the smaller number. So let's subtract 3x from both sides. Subtract 14 from both sides. Divide by 14. You're going to have to squeeze this in there. And x is equal to negative 1/7. You reduce that to 1/7. And you should go back and check to make sure I did it right. All right. These are the last guided practice problems, 5 and 10. Let's take a look at it. Number 5 tells us to do negative 2x plus 9 equals 2x minus 7. All right, isolate the variable. Which one of these should we move? Should we move the 2x or the negative 2x? Which one is smaller? Hopefully you're saying negative 2x is smaller. So we add 2x to both sides. I want you to get used to doing this work because it will be helpful later. There you go. So you added 2x to both sides. That's the additive property of equality. This becomes 0, 4x. This becomes 0, 16 over 4 is your solution. Number 10. Sorry if I'm rushing. Looking at number 10. Uh-oh. Fractions. 2/3 x plus 5/6 is x minus 1/2. Now, I'm going to tell you a fraction trick. I do not like fractions. All right, I don't like them. So I know a trick to get rid of fractions so that at least it's not as scary. What you're going to do is you're going to look at all fractions. And you're going to multiply by the greatest common factor. So, looking at this problem right here, what is the greatest common factor of 3, 6, and 2? Greatest common, oh, not factor, I'm sorry. I kind of mixed up, put two of these together. Sorry about that. It is something that they have in common, but it's the other one. It's the least common multiple. All right, least common multiple of all of these is 6. So if I multiply every single piece of information in here by 6, 6 times 1/2. Well, let's go to the first one. 6 times 2/3. Well, the 6 and the 3 reduce, and it becomes 4x. The 6 and the 6 reduce, and it becomes plus 5. So we did this. We did this. Now we're doing this. That's 6x. And then half of 6 is 3. Now this problem here is something that is not as scary. It adds an extra step, but it's not as scary. You're not trying to add and subtract find least common denominators and so on. So let's keep going. Move the smaller one over. Move the 4x. So 5 equals 2x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. 8 equals 2x. And divide by 2. Your answer is x equals 4. So your note-taking guide should now be completed. These are the problems that we are going to do in class. And you make sure you do all of the guided practices. All right? Good luck.